Welcome to a few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos, we have the privilege of reading Parshas Tetzaveh. The unique thing, of course, about Parshas Tetzaveh is that the name of Moshe Rabbeinu, does not appear anywhere in the entire Sedra. In fact, the Baal HaTurim himself notes that the name Moshe does not appear from the beginning of Shmos until the end of Bamidbar. This is the only Sedra that it does not appear, and the Baal HaTurim attributes it to the statement that Moshe Rabbeinu made when it was in Parshas Kisisa that Hashem threatened to destroy the Jewish people and not forgive them. Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Mecheni no misifrecha asher kosafta." If you're not going to forgive them, wipe my name out from the book that you have written. How careful Moshe Rabbeinu must have had to be in order that his name not appear anywhere in this Parsha just because of that statement. There are many who argue with that. The Paneach Rosa, the great Tosafist of the middle 13th century of France, the Paneach Rosa, Reb Levi ben Yehuda, Reb Levi ben Yehuda Halevi, brings up the unusual question: why should Moshe Rabbeinu be punished, not having his name mentioned, because he gave up his willingness to give up his life for the sake of the Jewish people? Mechenina misifrecha asher kosafta. That can't be the reason. And he offers the possibility that the reason Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned at all in Parshas Tetzaveh is because the Parsha deals with the Big Day Kahuna. And the Big Day Kahuna were worn only by the Kohanim. And this was Aaron's show, so to speak. The entire Parsha deals with the job and the begodim of Aaron, the special 8 begodim. An ordinary Kohen wore 4 begodim, while the Kohen wore 8 begodim. In addition to the mechnasayim, the pants and the tunic, the shirt, and the belt and the hat that an ordinary Kohen wore, Aaron also had the tzitz around his head, the tzitz hazahav. He had the ephod, the apron, and the choshen, the breastplate, and the me'il, the beautiful train of a cloak that went around the body of the Kohen Gadol. Now, one of the most important begodim that Aaron wore was the choshen. And the choshen, interestingly enough, the choshen, the pasuk says it had to be alev Aaron. It had to be the breastplate with the names of the Jewish people and jewels, which lit up and gave off the message according to the Medrash. That had to be worn on Aaron's chest. And what's the reason for that? If you go back to the beginning of Shemos, and you'll see that Moshe Rabbeinu is arguing and saying, I can't be the leader. I can't possibly take the Jewish people out of Egypt. It's impossible. I'm not going to be successful. Hashem said, don't worry. I'm sending Aaron with you. Harlo Aaron achicha halevi. Aaron, your brother, the Levi. Aaron was supposed to be the Levi and Moshe the Kohen. But no, now because you're making it that Aaron has to go along, he's going to be the Kohen Gadol. And v'ro'acha v'samach v'libo. He is going to see you and be happy in his heart. And Rashi quotes over there that because of the happiness that Aaron felt in his heart that Moshe Rabbeinu was going to lead the Jewish people out of Egypt, and that Aaron was coming out to greet him and be happy for the fact that his younger brother was going to be the boss, so to speak, the leader, and he was going to take a second seat, he was happy over it. He was happy. And Rashi comments that Misham Zocha Aaron, from there Aaron was merited, La'adei HaChoshen, for the jewels of the Choshen HaNasun Al Halev, which is placed upon the heart. Now, the Midos says that Moshe Rabbeinu had 10 different names. Of course, we're familiar with the name of Moshe, but the other names, there were 10 of them. The other names included Ikusiel, Yered, Avizonuach, Avigdor, Shmaya. These are popular names, some of them, that Moshe Rabbeinu had. And one of them, of course, was Tuvia, Tov, because when Moshe Rabbeinu was born, the mother said when she saw him, because the house was filled with light, you look at the beginning of Shemos, it says that the house was filled with light, and so she said, Vayaro Soki Tovhu. She saw he was good because the whole house was filled with light, therefore he was called Tovia or Tovia. So you see that Moshe Rabbeinu had many names. The Medrash in Perek Gimel, in the beginning of Shemos, mentions that even though he had all these other names, obviously some of them were given by birth, as we see by the mother, Ki Tovu, Tuvia, and at his bris, he certainly was given some names that he was going to speak with Hashem and so on. But the only name that he's really known by throughout the Torah is the name Moshe, which was given to him by Bas Paro. She wasn't even a Jewish woman at the time. Maybe later she converted, certainly when she stood at Har Sinai with Klal Yisrael and she was accepting all of the mitzvahs, and there was Tahara for 3 days, including immersion in the mikveh and Kabbalah's all mitzvahs. Certainly that worked. But the name that she gave him, Moshe, that's the one that stuck. And the Medrash explains, because of the chesed she did for Moshe, that she saved Moshe's life by sticking out her hand, and as it grew, she was able to save the life of Moshe. Because of the chesed she did, Moshe Rabbeinu was called by the name Moshe. Because Aaron was happy for the good fortune of his brother, despite the fact that he would take a second seat, but V'roach of his Samach Belibo, he was eager to be happy over the wonderful accomplishment of his brother. He wasn't jealous. Because of that, he was zocher to wear the choshen. So we're under the impression that the Big Day Kahuna and the names and the missing name of Moshe in the Parsha are just haphazard, but it's not at all. The Torah is teaching us two powerful, powerful lessons. The name Moshe was given because of chesed that was done for him by Bas Paro. And Moshe's name was taken out because of the chesed that Moshe did in giving all the kavod of the Kohen Gadol to his brother Aaron, despite the fact that it was taken away from him. And Aaron was able to wear the choshen because he was happy over the good fortune of his younger brother, that he was going to be the leader. Look at the Midos that the Torah is teaching us in this little section in which Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned. And that's where the whole thing started. This is unbelievable. When we read the Parsha, we have to look at it not for the nitty-gritty interpretations of how large the choshen was, what the jewels were, what they were made out of, the colors. Yes, those are all very, very important things. But the bottom line, his name because of chesed. Aaron wore the choshen because of his joy for his brother's success, because he was not jealous. And Moshe Rabbeinu was happy over the fact that Aaron has his chance to be the star of Parshas Tetzaveh. Take my name out. The glory belongs to my brother. The lack of selfishness and the caring and sharing that took place. These are the midos that the Torah wants us to learn from all of these small details, not small at all, that teach us the value of the development of the midos of a Ben and Bas Yisrael. And Hashem should bless us that when we read Parshas Tetzaveh, which interestingly enough, almost always comes out, as the Vilna Gaon points out, in the week in which it's Moshe Rabbeinu's yahrzeit, so he disappears, you might say, from the Sedra. Nevertheless, the midos are the thing that we have to learn, the good qualities, and that's what Parshas Tetzaveh is all about. the development of our better qualities, our care, our concern, our love for our fellow Jew, to help bring Klal Yisrael united together so that we can see the fulfillment that the Kohen Gadol blesses the Jewish people, the Yosem L'cha Shalom. Hashem should bless us with peace. I want to wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat Shalom U'Varach on the reading of Parshas Tetzaveh. Let's inculcate these beautiful, beautiful Midos into our own lives so that we can see that just as Moshe and Aaron led Klal Yisrael Moshe didn't lead them into the land of Israel, but just about, and brought about that the future of Klal Yisrael was secure. Let's hope that the same thing will happen speedily in our time. Shabbat Shalom U'Mevorach.